My son asked it first, sharp and innocent. Why does Uncle Mark live in our house and we're in the garage? Mom's reply was the kind that hides poison in sugar. Because he deserves a better life. I stayed quiet. I let her lie. I let my son wonder. Then I said softly, almost offhand, "We're moving next week." Dad laughed, that hollow, easy laugh that always reminded me of the cracks in his confidence. "Where? To a cheap motel?" I smiled. Not a smile for him, not for anyone. I dug the keys from my pocket and handed them over, along with the house deed. "No, but you might. I'm the owner. You're just tenants." The weight hit them differently. Shock, anger, confusion, a flicker of fear in Dad's eyes I hadn't seen since the night he lost control. I remembered the first time I trusted him. Mark, my husband, my partner. He had that easy charm, the kind that made strangers like him immediately. We built this house together, or so I thought. Late nights, whispered dreams, and promises he swore were forever. I loved him with the kind of reckless faith that leaves scars. The cracks were subtle at first. A late night here, a message he'd hide there. I'd notice things but dismiss them. I trusted him to be human, not perfect. Until the day I saw it. His emails, the hidden bank accounts, the signatures forged with casual precision. He had been dismantling everything we built, quietly siphoning life out of our future. I didn't rage, not yet. I let the betrayal settle in my bones, let it teach me patience. If I reacted too soon, he'd see it. He had to believe he was untouchable. I watched him, meticulously, learned his habits. His arrogance became a map for my plan. Every morning I calculated. Every conversation, every glance, every handshake, I was moving pieces on a board only I could see. He wanted to humiliate me, to make me small. I would not. I would wait. I started quietly. Paper trails, legally invisible maneuvers. I had an attorney draft contracts under pseudonyms, accounts opened in names no one would suspect, land transferred piece by piece. He joked, "You're paranoid." I smiled. "I'm careful." Socially, I untangled him. Friends who had been loyal to him were gently nudged my way. Invitations, whispered truths, subtle hints. Soon he was isolated, suspicious, on edge. I never touched the obvious, only the necessary, the legal, the financial, the emotional, like a surgeon. Months passed. He continued to flaunt his superiority, a private dinner here, a brag there, and I listened, every word a confession of arrogance, every gesture a thread I could pull. Then the day came, the move. I watched them, Dad laughing nervously, Mom pretending she had never noticed, Mark confident in his unearned throne. I handed over the keys and the deed. They thought it was a joke. The kind of joke that would sting but not wound. They hadn't read the fine print. They hadn't calculated the consequences. They were just tenants. Their reactions were exquisite. Dad's laughter died halfway, replaced by a flicker of recognition, then disbelief. Mom's smug smile faltered. Mark froze, an entire empire he believed belonged to him evaporating in real time. The subtle clues I had planted, the financial traps, the witnesses, the contracts, they all converged in this single moment. What is this?" Mark finally stammered. I kept my voice calm, soft, deliberate. "You want a better life, right? Then maybe start by paying rent. From now on, you'll be living under my rules." The room went silent, except for the faint echo of our son asking, "Mom, why are they packing?" I crouched, looked him in the eye and said, "Because sometimes people forget who they belong to." I saw it then, the slow, creeping realization, the charm, the entitlement, the false superiority all dissolving. They weren't in control anymore. I was. Every slight, every betrayal, every hidden act of cruelty came home to roost, and I had orchestrated it all silently, masterfully. Mark tried to protest, Dad tried to argue, Mom opened her mouth to explain. I let them. Each word they said only tightened the chains around their own arrogance. I listened, patient, silent, vengeful. When the movers arrived, I handed my son his little box of toys and told him to stay close. He didn't need to see the full fallout, just the calm, quiet satisfaction in a parent who had reclaimed their life. I didn't yell, I didn't gloat, I didn't need to. Power, when earned quietly and executed with precision, speaks louder than any scream. By nightfall, they were gone. Mark's empire of illusions reduced to nothing more than memories in a garage he no longer owned. Dad muttered something about lessons learned as he loaded his car. Mom didn't meet my eyes. Their fear wasn't dramatic, it was precise, just like mine had been for months while I built the trap. I sat in the penthouse that night. The city lights spread before me, reflected in the glass like 1,000 silent witnesses. My son slept peacefully in his new room, adjusting to his unknown future.